Hello, everybody. Today I will be talking about how to build camaraderie in a tabletop role-playing game. This is an important topic because the whole point of hosting a game is to have fun. Without camaraderie, you can't do that. So in a perfect world, every group of new players who sit down together would already be good friends who are good at role-playing and support each other and share the spotlight and have the same sense of humor, right? But it's not a perfect world. Sometimes you can find yourself hosting a game for strangers, or maybe a new person comes along and joins an existing group of friends. But whatever the case is, the best sort of game is one where everyone's having fun and building each other up. And if there's any sort of friction between characters in game, ideally both players are just doing it for fun. If that isn't the case and you're the dungeon master, then there's a problem. And there are several ways to deal with that problem. So much like real life, people bond over good times and shared experiences. And in a fantasy setting, that means that the characters overcome hurdles and have fun together. Most camaraderie building events during a tabletop need to have an element of comedy to be effective. People like to laugh. And when they do that, they become friends and they feel secure enough to let their hair down at the table, and it makes attending your game a priority for them. Encouraging players to laugh and bond is actually pretty simple. There are three basic tricks that I like to use, which I've discovered to be effective across multiple games. The first one is to narrate using a tone of voice that implies comedy or sarcasm. And if you do a good job of that, your players will naturally participate in this paradigm that you weave by mirroring you. If you try tossing in a few micro events with an element of play or slapstick or even mild embarrassment, the key word being mild, it works well. And it's okay to summarize these events with like a skill check or two rather than role playing them out in great detail because you don't want to waste a lot of time. But they give players a chance to laugh and feel this brief moment of accomplishment or levity. And psychologically, that's why, for example, pay-to-win cell phone games are so effective, right? The second method you can use is to mix in quest objectives that force the characters to put aside their basic corpse looting, murder, hobo behavior and play around in a heroic fashion. And this is particularly effective if they're like good deeds, if the group is good, or they involve punishing bad guys in some way because you want to be spiteful. For instance, like pickpocketing a pompous windbag, or defending the honor of a tavern girl who's being bullied by a customer. Or, once I had a female player who just felt really good about dancing with an old knight at a party who was this big hero in his prime, but was now being made fun of by spoiled young aristocrats because he was old. Or like outwitting a minstrel who's heckling people by beating him at his own game, or using special abilities to out cheat like a femme fatale who's hustling people at cards, right? They're what I call feel good situations, and they can be funny, and they reinforce the party's heroism in ways that killing orcs and dragons simply doesn't do. The third method requires your players to have a very good sense of humor about themselves, and that is by having the characters get into trouble together, which needs to be done in kind of a reasonable fashion to make sure that their feelings aren't hurt and their time isn't being wasted. But if you do it right, it reinforces this sort of adventuring spirit and injects a lightheartedness that players embrace to prevent things from getting too dark and depressing. Like getting drunk together and waking up in the stocks in your undergarments while a city watch captain is dousing you guys with buckets of cold well water. Like that can be a bonding experience, right? So believe it or not. Um, that's about it. Those three techniques. I'm going to let you chew on them for a while. Think about them. Think about crafting situations that are brief and light, which allow the characters to kind of bond and play, doing that kind of stuff. And let me know how they work out for you in the comments below. I'd be interested to see what you come up with. This has been another Short Stack Tabletop Gaming video. If you like it, please click subscribe so I know to make more of them. And if you have any questions you'd like me to answer, just plug them in down below. Thank you for watching.